Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to part 2 of my tutorial where I create, design, and upload a shirt for merch by Amazon. And if you haven't seen the first video, I'll put a link to it down below in the description. And let's continue. So in my last video, I decided I was going to create a shirt taking zombies from Halloween and a profession, so I chose school bus driving, and put those together for a t-shirt and see if I can get something blending those two together that will work for Halloween. And so what I use is I use Illustrator. And I was going to use something like zombie bus driver, but the more I thought about it, I didn't really care for that phrase too much. And so I'm going to go with a slightly different phrase. Now this is Illustrator. This is what I start with usually. I have a artboard, and when I have a shirt that's created, if I'm going to be using the same style font or something similar, I'll just take my previous shirt that I was working on, delete the text, and start over using the same font and everything that's already set up. And so a lot of times I do have my artboard already set up like this from my previous design, and then when I complete this one, I'll just do save as and create the new file that way. Hopefully that makes sense. But so this is usually what I'm starting with. This would be my previous design here, and I already have my two layers. I have my transparent one that I'm actually working on, and this one is just the black background, and I will click that off before I actually export the finished product because I don't want a background, but this is just so I can see what I'm working with. All right, so what I start with, I'll get rid of that old text, and my font or my design is going to say I drive bus, and I could hit enter and go down to the next line and keep typing here, but it's easier to move around your text and resize it if you have separate text boxes for each line. And so the first line is going to say I drive bus, and then from Illustrator I hit escape, it highlights it, and if I do Control C, it copies the text box, and if I do Control V, it pastes it back on here. So from here, I'm going to say and then I'll copy that down to the next line, and I'm going to rearrange these once I get the whole text in there. I drive bus and slay zombies. Now I was going to use zombie slayer, something to do with driving a bus and being a zombie slayer, but there's a lot of video games and I think some movies that use zombie slayer. And from what I could tell, the people that have applied for copyright or sorry, trademark, they were abandoned or expired. It didn't look like it was still an active trademark, but because it's been used so many times, I didn't want to take the risk. There might be something out there that I'm missing, and so I wanted to use something slightly different than Zombie Slayer, so I went with Slay Zombie. So all this design is going to say is I drive bus and slay zombies. Now, I'm not a huge fan of this font right here, and so I'm going to deselect the background because I don't want to accidentally highlight the background as well. And then I'll click it back on here so I can see my text. And I am going to change the font. And for this one, I am actually going to try Copperplate Gothic. I'll go with Copperplate Gothic Bold on this one. Kind of like how that one looks. I'm going to have to move this down a little bit. Yeah, and see there I highlighted the whole background, so that's not what I was trying to do. All right, and then the eye is kind of off of the background, so I need to bring that down. This right here, is that centered? I believe that is centered. I'm not 100% sure on that one. I'll have to look at it a little closer, and I'm going to make that a little smaller. Try and center it, and then I like the height of these, but I'm actually going to bring it in a little bit just so they match up. So it's within the box. And then this one, you know what? I'm going to bring actually this one in so it matches that one a little bit more. So it's not right on the edge. Okay, so that is going to be my basic design. I don't know if I want that capitalized or not. I think I like it better not capitalized so it matches everything else. So that is my basic white text design. I drive bus and slay zombies. And then I would deselect the black background, go up here, save as, and save it as my correct file, and then export as from right here. And I'm going into my folder. I select the use artboards, and that keeps the dimensions of 4500 by 5400 that you need to upload to Merch by Amazon, and then export. And then this is the default settings here. I believe it's the default resolution. I always select high and click OK. Now that is my basic design, white text, nothing too fancy. Now I can highlight this again. Whoops, I did not mean to add. I keep adding additional text. I don't want to do that. So go up here to my select window, delete the extra text I just added. So I'm going to highlight all my white font, click black, and then this would be my black text version of the exact same one. And then I'd put something on the end of this one. You could number it. You can say 1 and 2. You can say black font, just something so you know, so it doesn't override the file you already saved, and export. That's 2 designs. Now this is pretty boring. It's pretty basic, and all it is straight text. It's nothing too exciting. So what I was going to do is I'm going to change zombies up a little bit, make it a little more interesting. And I'm actually going to go back to the white font, I believe, for this one. Highlight all of this, change it back to white, and click on my black background. And then from here, I'm going to highlight just the word zombies. And this is where having paid fonts can come in handy. You can add in a little bit more, a little bit more to the text-based design only. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using this font here. And this is actually an outline font, so that's not the one I actually want to use yet. I want to be using this. It's called Brain Melt, and I actually got this one from Creative Market. And so I'm going to, because this is so much different, the size is so much different than the sleigh over here, I need to move the zombies part down to make it look good, but I can't do that because it's all in the same text box. So I'm going to split this up into 2 different text boxes here. And to do that, I'm going to Control C, so I copy that, and if I do Control F, it copies it directly on top of the other one, so I don't lose my spot. And then for the first text box, I'm actually going to, let's see, I did that wrong. I'm going to get rid of, there we go. And so what I'm doing now is I'm deleting the sleigh on the first one, and there's my zombies text box, and here's my, if I can get it back over there, here's my sleigh text. And so that's still lined up there. Make that a little bit bigger, and I'm going to bring this one down a little bit so it matches up a little bit better. And it's okay if it doesn't match up exactly because I want it to stand out. But this is starting to look weird here because there's such a big gap between this and that. So I'm going to make this a little bit smaller, and it's just an and symbol, so I'm not too worried about the and. Bring this up a little bit. I'm not 100% sure where I want this. If I want it centered with the zombies, or at the top of the zombies, or at the bottom of the zombies. I don't think the bottom looks good. I'm going to try and center it just a little bit so it's centered with zombies. Okay, so back to the zombies. There's a fly buzzing around my head and it's really annoying. Okay, so back to the zombies. This is an interesting font. It's actually a layered font, and so I can do just the first part here. I can make zombies red. I can make it whatever color I want. So in this case, I'm just going to do white to start with, and then I'm going to Control C to make a copy of this, and Control F to paste the copy on top of this. And then I'm going to change the font. I said it was a layered font, and so the first one was Brain Melt Regular, and the second one is Brain Melt Outline. And so you can see how it makes it dripping. It makes it really interesting, and if I add color to the top font, the outline font, it makes the zombies look like that. So it's dripping blood in white. Now, these flies are really annoying, but that's what I get for shooting in the garage right now, so I don't wake up anybody that's currently sleeping. All right, so that is my basic uh, my my basic shirt design when I'm doing text only. And like I said, paying for your fonts, for one thing, you know it's a legitimate font that you can use. You can look at the licensing before you purchase it, so you know if you're getting something that's available for commercial use or if it's free for personal use only, and you should not be using it on shirts. And so what I've been doing is that I've been purchasing all of my fonts. I don't want to take the chance of somebody coming up later on saying I'm using their fonts without paying them and get me suspended or kicked off of Merch by Amazon. I want to make sure I'm covering all my bases, and so I've been purchasing bundles from Creative Market where I can read the licensing agreements. And then this particular one here, this was a single font, and so paying for a single font. Man, these flies are annoying. Sorry, I apologize. Paying for a single font, I don't like paying. I'd rather buy a bundle where you get several. But if it's something I can use on several different designs, so let's say I've put this font already on 20 different designs, and it's a $10 font. Actually, I think this one was like 12, but so let's say I've created 24 shirts. That's 50 cents a shirt. That's not bad. And now I have this font. I can use it for whatever I want. And I don't have to make it dripping. I don't have to have the background. I can just make it dripping. I can make it all one color. There's so many different things I can do with this to make it look unique. And it's got some, I think I can use it on other shirts outside of Halloween, but it's mainly going to be a Halloween font. So that's going to be my basic design right there. Then I will take this, I will export it, and that will be my my finished product. I'll say Zombies 2 because it's my second design, and I will export it right there. And my computer is about to die. It looks like the little thing right here is already coming on, so I need to plug my computer in. So that is the basic for my designs, and I can do red, and I can do the drips in black and change the font and have a different shirt altogether. I kind of like it leaving it all in red. I kind of like how that looks. But without that, leaving it all in red, that's actually not bad right there. So I might actually leave it with all the red. I was going to make the text darker and make it a design for light colored shirts, but I actually like the dripping blood like that. So rather than leave it as I just did, I'm going to create this one instead. And that will be the end of this video, how I created the shirt. Now, don't forget to keep watching. I'm going to be filming the third part. I need to plug my computer in first so my computer doesn't die on me. But the next one will be uploading and creating the title, bullet points, and adding in some keywords. So keywords is not my specialty. I'm not going to say I'm a keyword expert, but I'll show you at least what I do. So anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for the next video.